Good evening, everyone, board, legal staff, residents that came out. There's a few things that I do want to talk about. One of them is I want to ask the board and Dr. Rex included, how valid are the assessment tests? I know we keep saying our schools are failing, and I do a lot of work with the students. So I want to know how valid our assessment tests are. Do we gauge whether a percentage of our students are poor test takers? I have a daughter that excels academically, but if you put a test in front of her, she freezes up. And she has a hard time getting through tests. So I have to prepare her for tests over and over again so that she doesn't, so that this phobia doesn't take control of her. I also need to know whether or not, as a board, whether we looked at the environment. We're asking a pipeline to come in, and we already have so many other environmental issues that affect our city. Chromium, lead, why would we add something else? It just doesn't make sense. And if we look at the learning curve of our kids, and we look at some of the toxic wastes that are in our communities, we can probably weigh out why we have so many special ed students, okay? I also want to know if a survey can be done with the teachers and the staff, everyone that serviced the kids within the schools, to find out how many students have learning disorders that are not classified, that do not have IEPs. I have worked in classrooms where I've had only 7 kids that had an IEP, and there should have been 20 of them that should have had them. So you need to find out whether or not, even if we're classifying all the kids as special ed, there are parents that will not let you put that title on their kids, okay? But their kids do need special help. So we need to find out what percentage of kids that can be classified as special ed just based on the gauge of teachers gauging their behavior and how well they receive information. I think our curriculum has a lot to do with why our kids are failing, okay, especially the ones that may have an issue with the environment or special ed. I think whole language has got to be the worst thing we've ever done with this school system. I believe whole language only works if you go home to an environment where your parents are speaking proper English and that their daily conversation challenge their vocabulary. That doesn't happen with the majority of our students. Our students need phonics, they need spelling, they need grammar. And if we're not teaching it at school, they're not going to learn it as a whole language, because whole language is only spoken in school. And I've been in classes where the teachers didn't speak proper English. So whole language, it needs to be thrown completely out the window, okay? Everyday math, I love the curriculum, but I will say that it works with students that have math issues. I think students that are on task or where they need to be with math need to follow a regular math curriculum. Not that I don't have a problem with the curriculum, but I think the curriculum should not be forced on all the students, but should be forced on students that may have difficulties learning math. Okay, I think as a school district, we do not support sports and extracurricular activities. And in order for our students to get that drive to excel, that drive to want to get A's and be the best, it's done through extracurricular activities. We're not doing anything motivational in the classroom. All we're doing is drilling them with A, B's, and C's, and 1, 2s, and 3s, and academics that they need to learn, but we're not giving them any motivation to excel as a reason to excel. So I'm really upset over the fact that we don't spend more money on extracurricular activities, debate clubs, and things that teach our kids to want to get A's, okay? Not just get A's because your teacher told you, but because they want to challenge their teacher. We don't instill that in our students. We don't, our schools are missing their fun factor. The kids are miserable in the classrooms. They're not fun. And if you are learning, learning should be a fun experience. our kids should wake up saying, oh, mommy, I got a cold, but I want to go to school because I'm having so much fun there. If our kids are not saying that, then there's a problem somewhere. That must be with the teaching staff. It may be the way the security address people when they come in. Okay, I think there's a big problem with how we address parents when they come in. The security is very abrasive at practically every school I went to. And I understand we need security, but they do not need to, I despise yelling. And I think I go into way too many schools where security, staff, and teachers yell at the students, okay?
We will, our educational leaders aren't here tonight, but like Dr. McCullough, but I think Dr. Epps will pass those suggestions on to Dr. McCullough.
I still have more.
You have more?
Yes.
We have other speakers, so if you could just...
I know. I'm going to try to get through my 10 minutes.
5
minutes.
That's
My 5 minutes.
That's why we're still
talking. My next question is, can we have a public forum to inform the public of what we're going to do to change these schools around? We have failing schools. Tell us what's the plan. We as parents want to know what the plan is. What are you planning to do? Open it up. Let us be a part of it. Okay?
Dr. Epps will take that.
That's not a big,
Okay.
Thank you. We've got to move on, if you don't mind. We have several other speakers that we want to...
Well, I do have one more thing. Can I just, because you guys let everyone else impose one more thing. I think teachers are not understanding that their curriculum is a minimum standard. And when they get into a classroom, they only teach what the curriculum is, even if they know that that child can probably go home with a phonics book and get right on task. I think we need to better educate our teachers so that they know that the responsibility of that child does not just fall on that curriculum that they got to follow, but on whether or not they're able to gauge that student and give them what they need in addition to that curriculum to make them excel.
Thank you. William Franks.
And they're absent too much.